Welcome to the July 13th, 2017 episode of Reactive Consciousness, our in-depth podcast about what happened this week in pop culture. I am your host, VyseTheBold, and this is...
Lotus Prince.
And Retro Gamer.
This week we wanted to talk about my birthday celebration this year, which was pretty special, I would have to say. This is the first birthday that I had with my girlfriend, and also Retro had come across from Ireland to visit. So it's just one of those things that was really neat. We went to round one, which we've talked about several times in the past, and so it's just one of those things that was really cool to experience. We did a lot of gaming. We did some drinking, and we also did some bowling. So and all three of us were there, so it was a lot of fun.
That it was.
Yeah, it's my first time in round one, of course, because I'm not from America. But I was quite impressed with the setup. It's very like Japanese arcades when I visited Japan.
Yeah, they pushed the Japanese arcades pretty hard. It's like, this is the only place in America, for the most part, that you can play those.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, not the only. I mean, the round one franchise, the only place is.
It was so cool. We really enjoyed having everybody there. It was a huge honor to have everybody there, and it was a lot of fun. And I couldn't have asked for a better birthday. Lotus actually got me a really neat gift I wanted to talk about. One of the coolest things about what happened was that you got me a vinyl, which I never expected, because you don't do vinyls yourself, so it's just really neat that you got me one. You got me one for a game that I haven't had a chance to play yet, but I've heard a lot about. So it's Fury, and apparently the soundtrack is really, really good.
Oh, it's better than that.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's very electronic.
Yeah, so for once, I'm actually the one that's left out here, in terms of not having played this game. Apparently, a lot of people feel like it plays like an old treasure game, which is kind of neat.
Yeah, it's a real boss rush.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're dueling a boss with like swords and stuff like that.
I actually feel it plays a lot like Red Star.
I love Red Star.
There's a lot of kind of twin stick shooting in it, and then mixed up with melee combat, and you also have a counter system as well. So it's kind of like a Red Star boss rush type game, is what I kind of feel. Yeah. Yeah,
I love Red Star. Red Star is one of the unsung classics of the PS2 era. I feel it's just one of those games that got really overlooked because it kind of got like dumped out because the company folded. So it's just one of those things that was, if you had played it, you realized how good it was. So I'm really looking forward to playing this game.
Isn't the composer this? Did he do some work for Hotline Miami as well? I'm not sure.
That I'm not sure about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, not only did I get that, but my girlfriend got me some really, really nice gifts as well. She knows how much I love the Gorillaz, so she got me portraits of the four members of the band to
nice.
hang in my living room here.
You know they're not real, right?
Yes. No, I saw them hanging out with Alvin and the Chipmunks last week.
Yeah, I saw them holograph projecting right next to Hatsune Miku.
She also got me on top of that, she got me a clock, a Gorillaz clock that is a laser printed. It's basically laser etched out of a record itself.
Oh, jeez.
Really neat. Really neat looking, really cool. She also got me a couple like joke gifts. Like one of the things that she got me was a Tacosaurus. So she got me these like holder. It's basically like a dinosaur shaped taco holder.
Nice.
That's really meant for children, but obviously I like it too. And yeah, she got me that, and also a bunch of candy and stuff. So and a beard trimmer. Now that I have a beard, she wants me to maintain it. So got that. And then Retro gave me a bunch of stuff I wanted to talk about as well. So he brought over some really nice PAL flavored treasures from Ireland.
Some of them are treasures.
Yeah. No. Well, we'll start with the Sega Master System here. One of them being one of my favorite games for the system, Ninja Gaiden. And you actually watched this on SGDQ this year, didn't you?
Yeah, we'll get to that a bit later, but yes, it looks quite fun.
It's one of my favorite games. I actually, out of all the 2D games, it's my favorite. It beats out the 3 NES games, if you ask me. I really love the way it plays. It's very fluid.
You might come under some heat for that one.
I don't care. Come at me, bro. I've played all the Ninja Gaiden games, and this is probably my favorite 2D one. Really love that game. He also got me probably the polar opposite, probably one of the worst games on the system. Hey. No, but like you admit this too. Yes. This is. There's no way that you could try to justify this one. It's the Cyber Shinobi. So this is an obscure sequel to Shinobi.
On the Master System?
On the Master System, yeah. So the original Shinobi game on the Master System is actually quite a good port of the original Shinobi.
Yeah, that was the arcade game, right?
Yeah, and it's a port of the arcade game.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, it's hard, but it's good, and it's a good version of it, and it has good music and everything. But the there's also an Shadow Dancer was also on the Master System. It's a different game than the Genesis one.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I think I've only seen the Genesis one.
Yeah, the Genesis one is actually kind of like a different game than the arcade one, and the Sega Master System one is more of a port of the arcade version. So anyway, then there's this bastardized sequel that looks like it was used to be like an MSX game or a Spectrum game or something.
It's got the choppy scrolling of an MSX game where the MSX
no.
couldn't handle scrolling, so the geniuses that programmed this, it kind of scrolls tile by tile in some sections, and other sections it's smooth. So I don't know what they were doing.
It plays like garbage. It has a really awesome cover of what I assume is supposed to be Joe Musashi.
The Cyber Shinobi.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to beat it, so you can get all the plot and the lore of the Shinobi universe.
It doesn't fit in anywhere. And
it doesn't matter. You must know.
It's also European only, I think, and I think it might have been programmed in Europe. It just feels like it.
Yes.
It was. Meaning it's shit.
Jeez. He's sitting right there, man.
European games of that era, especially like console games, were not very good.
Like Jet Set Willy.
Yeah. No, they just weren't designed as tightly as Japanese games, and it just was not the best experience. So anyway, it's just one of those things. And so anyway, I'm glad to have it, though. It's definitely going to be on my Kusoge pile. But Ninja Gaiden is absolutely one of my favorite games. I was so happy to see that. It also has one of the best covers on Sega Master System, a system that is not known for its good
I can't really think of like a cool cover that I've seen for that system.
Most of them are garbage.
I remember some of them were even just like the covers were like a picture of a hand holding the game itself. It's like, what is that?
Yeah, the Mega cards.
When they started kind of concentrating on the Mega Drive games, the games.
Well, Genesis, Mega Drive, yeah.
Yeah, no, it kind of failed in America, and the European kind of wing took over. They kind of started putting a bit more effort into them, I think.
Okay.
It still kind of has that checkerboard look, but there's actual artwork rather than
because
clip art.
Speaking of failing in America, like I'd never even heard of the Master System until it was like way too late. Like I was just like, there was another Sega system before the Genesis. What?
It's crazy that it did so well in Europe, but it's because Virgin handled the distribution of it, and Virgin are a pretty big company in in England, so they pushed that pretty hard.
Gotcha.
And they kind of pushed it as like a real arcade system, and like pushed those like Outrun and
yeah, it did have some arcade game like Rastan.
Yeah, and they're pretty good conversions and a lot better than what you'd see on like the Commodore 64. And the Amiga then was more powerful, but it was kind of expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. The Master System by and large is a great game platform. It has some really good titles. The vast majority of the games were actually programmed by Sega themselves, because they didn't have a whole lot of.
I think it was to do with the Nintendo exclusivity.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah,
They weren't allowed to make the games, but they were allowed to have the license. Sega had. So you had stuff like. Strider and Ghouls and Ghosts had to be programmed by Sega rather than Capcom.
Yeah, and I even think this version of Ninja Gaiden is made by Sega as well.
So yeah, Ghouls and Ghosts was programmed by Yuji Naka.
Yeah. I mean, like a lot of these games were in-house generated. The only third-party company that I can honestly think of is Activision. I think had a couple titles in the system that I think they programmed, but.
You see, it kind of got relaxed, and Konami then came on board around 92, 93. And
yeah,
but before that, there was.
What was a Konami game on the Sega Master System?
Oh, not me. I mean, even on the Mega Drive.
Oh, you mean on the Mega Drive?
Yeah, like Contra Hardcore, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but that was actually much later. I think it was Sunset Riders might have been forced, and maybe Hyperdual Heist.
Hyperstone Heist was great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's kind of a lesser kind of turn of time.
Yeah, it even has the same boss theme, just Genesis version, which is just kind of, even if it's not the better one, it's just fascinating to hear.
Well, I think Rocket Knight Adventure was their first kind of original game for the Mega Drive, when they actually didn't just base it off another game they had.
Yeah. The Master System was a much more powerful piece of hardware than the Famicom, and it really shows. Like the animation that happens in that version of Ninja Gaiden couldn't have happened on the NES. Same thing with a lot of the colors.
Yeah, I always loved... I mean, I mentioned this when we were at round one for just an unrelated reason. I actually brought it up because of the SGDQ run. But I really love that when you jump up to a ledge that's above you, you kind of grab it and you do like a little flip, so you like get on your feet onto it. And that's an animation that wouldn't exist in the NES, or if it would, with far fewer frames.
I think it actually plays quite more like the Natsume game Shadow of the Ninja than actual Ninja Gaiden, and I wouldn't be surprised maybe if Natsume had a hand in it in its creation. Or
they kind of tended to license out that Shadow of the Ninja series, because
there's a Ninja Gaiden game on the Game Boy.
Yeah, the Ninja Gaiden Shadow on the Game Boy actually was originally a Shadow of the Ninja game.
Nice.
Before it was a Ninja Gaiden game, and it was programmed by Natsume, even though it was sold by Tecmo, and it even has the same cover as the original, like the same cover art as the original Ninja Gaiden. So,
that's amusing. So if you because I missed all this, but like if you were at the store, would you even realize that it was a different game, like, or would you think it was Ninja Gaiden on the Game Boy?
So. It has a different title. It's called Ninja Gaiden Shadow.
Okay.
But back then it was very difficult to tell whether something was just a like a shrunk down port, or whether it was an original game.
That's kind of what I meant. Like Mortal Kombat on the Game Boy wasn't like a different game, you know? It was like weak Mortal Kombat.
Even a game like Super C, which is technically an original game, is kind of like a remixed version of Super C.
Yeah.
It has like a lot of elements, but there were plenty of things that were just shrunk down versions. Like there was
DuckTales is kind of
DuckTales.
It does have some original level layouts, but it's still quite similar.
Yeah. The Mega Man games were also original, but not original.
They were kind of remixed. Mm-hmm. Like Mega Man 3 had a lot of Mega Man 3 and 4 bosses, and the levels were slightly different.
Yeah, so it was really hard to tell. I mean, you also have Bionic Commando, which was a totally different game. It was more like a sequel. You have Kid Icarus, which is more like a sequel. It's just one of those things. You never really knew what you were getting on Game Boy, and very few places rented them out. So it was kind of a crapshoot.
That's true. They rented out like the home consoles. I don't think even heard of renting out the handheld consoles.
Yeah.
I actually had in Ireland there was quite a lot of Game Boy rentals, which is kind of weird. Yeah, so
nice.
I rented out a lot of like the Game Boy games, like that's how I got played a lot of them, was through rentals.
That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
in the United States, it was much more. It's much rarer, and also like a lot of the publications didn't cover them all. It's just like big Game Boy games. So like you just wouldn't know this kind of thing until the age of the internet. You wouldn't find out whether this what stuff was worth playing because it was original. Like the Batman games for the Game Boy were pretty much all original. And they were all pretty fun. The Tiny Toons games were original. They weren't shrunk down versions of their NES counterparts. Konami was usually pretty good about it. Even if it was just something that was slightly remixed, it wasn't usually a shrunk down version of it.
Even stuff like but they put Contra 3 on there, and it was actually a pretty good port.
Yeah, that was a good port of, but that was a really late Game Boy release. But
they put some effort into it. Like
that one was good. That was a shrunk down version of Alien Wars. It was better than the Game Boy Advance version of Alien Wars, if you ask me.
Awful.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it was just hard to tell. But getting back to this, I think the Master System. Just I'm really happy to always get some new games for it, and rare bad games like Cyber Shinobi are actually kind of rare on the system. Like there has a pretty high percentage of good games. Even some of the like not as good games are still pretty fun to play. So anyway, I also wanted to go over some of the other exclusives you gave me. So you brought Parasol Stars, which is a really good version, if I remember right.
I don't know if that's on the Famicom or not.
I think they're two different versions. Yeah. I think the Famicom and European version of Parasol Stars are two different games.
Yeah, because Ocean definitely made Parasol Stars for the 8-bits and 16-bits. So it was their own kind of game.
Yeah. So this is, for anybody who doesn't know, this is the arcade sequel to Bubble Bobble. It's not Bubble Bobble Part 2.
Oh, wow.
It's not Rainbow Islands either.
Yeah. It's a different, it's one of the many confusing sequels to Bubble Bobble. But in this one, you are like you are still Bub and Bob. It's just that you're not the dinosaurs anymore. You're cured of your malady of being a dinosaur, right?
Yeah.
And you have parasols, and you pick up enemies. It's the same kind of game in that you have like a single screen, and then you kind of like try to grab enemies and flick them with your parasols. But it's a really good fun game. I'm looking forward to playing that. This one's the highlight of I think the NES games that he got me here. He got me a copy of New Ghostbusters 2, which was made by HAL. It's kind of an adventure game, right?
It's kind of top-down kind of adventure shooter game, yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and you can play as Winston in this. Before none of the other games you could play as Winston.
I think I haven't played much of it now myself. I only discovered it because of Retronauts mentioned it recently, because the other two Ghostbusters games are awful, and then
the Activision games are awful.
And this one's actually programmed by HAL, so it actually has a good company behind it, and it's like a really good fun game, and it's completely programmed, which you can't really say about the other Ghostbusters games.
Yeah. So I mean the first Ghostbusters game has good versions, the David Crane one. It's just that none of them are on the NES. The version that got to the NES is actually really terrible, but the Commodore version, and actually probably the best version of it's the Sega Master System version, that Activision one. But it's a weird game. It has sim elements, and
it's supposed to be a car sim or something.
Yeah.
Well, not a car management sim or something. Before they changed it to Ghostbusters.
But this one took me totally by surprise, and it was really awesome that you include it. You got me Konami's Noah's Ark, which I think that's Konami's only PAL exclusive.
Yeah, it is.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, no, they have that Breakout clone, don't they? The Palcom one.
On Super Nintendo?
No, NES. But it's close to one of Konami's only PAL exclusives, and it's the only Bible game that I know of that was released in Europe.
Yeah, it's strange that it didn't make it to America, considering there was a lot of Bible games on the NES. They seem to do all right.
Yeah, so this one is a fun one to. It's pretty funny. Like you're racing against the flood. in this game.
Wait, was this the Super Nintendo game, like the platformer?
No, it's not Super Noah's Ark. This is for the original Nintendo.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, this is a platformer where you're racing against time to collect these animals in it, and it's some of the animals that you have to ignore because they're bad animals. It's not every animal. It's like you're saving the cute ones.
This isn't canon at all.
Yeah, it's really funny. But yeah, there's a constant rising level of water in it. It's not programmed by Konami. It was definitely published by Konami. But it's a really nice curiosity, and I'm glad he got it for me here. I don't know, we're all huge Konami fans from that era. Not so much now, but
yeah.
I'm glad to have gotten it. Then he got me a bunch of PlayStation games too.
Ooh.
Got me. So I don't know either of these games. Hell Knight, which is
I've heard of
Atlas
Hell
game.
Knight. I've actually had that recommended to me. Hell Knight's a game where I believe it's first person and you're running through a maze and you have this thing chasing you the entire time. You got to save people who have unique abilities to get out, and like apparently it's crazy hard.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this because it's an Atlas title, and there aren't many Atlas titles in Europe.
Yeah, they usually don't get to Europe.
Yeah. And also Chaos Break, which looks like a survival horror game.
It's got incredible voice acting. It's kind of more. It looks more kind of Dino Crisis, where there's a lot more action in it than actual horror. Well,
I gotta play both of these.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We should do a maybe a stream or something in the future.
Maybe, but maybe it better be Chaos Break, because Hell Knight, without even playing it, I hear that game is just gonna kick your ass.
That's kind of cool for a stream, though, getting your ass kicked.
Fair enough.
Rather than a Let's Play.
Yeah.
He also got me a copy of One Piece Mansion, which is actually supposed to be a really good game.
I think I've seen a bit of that played. That's the one where you're building like all these. No, I was thinking the hotel game, but I think
you're right.
No, that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
That is it. So you're putting all these rooms and satisfying your residents and everything like that. Yeah, I've seen a bit of that played. I think on the Game Grumps.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing that one as well, because I've heard really good things about that even back in the day about that one. So definitely looking forward to that. He also got me. This is a huge deal. I can't believe you bought me this.
I can't believe I found it.
Yeah, he bought me a copy of Deep Fear, which is incredibly rare.
Oh, I think I remember you mentioning that. Yeah, like PAL Deep Fear.
It's a PAL copy of Deep Fear, and it's a beautiful copy of it. Pretty much unscathed by human hands.
Nice.
And it's a complete copy, and it's in a really nice PAL case. It's a lot better than the cases that we have for Saturn games.
Yeah, our cases weren't great.
Yeah, no, they're very brittle.
Intimate cardboard is just a disaster.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to playing this game on the Saturn, because it's we just love our group loves survival horror games from that era, so a lot of fun.
Believe it or not, Deep Fear was a game recommended to me a long time before I even had a Saturn by one of the guys from Tales of Games. Like that and like the Dark Savior reference, like they're into some esoteric stuff.
And lastly, he got me a book, Terrible Old Games You've Probably Never Heard of.
Hey, that sounds like my kind of list.
Yeah.
It's written by Stuart Ashens, if you know who he is.
I do, yeah, Dr. Ashens.
Yeah, he kind of wrote this book because he was sick of Americans saying that like stuff like E.T. and Superman 64 were the worst games ever. He was kind of like, you've never experienced the stuff that's on the ZX Spectrum and 8-bit computers. That's the real horrors.
And not to mention, it makes me think of movies. Like, what's the worst movie you've ever seen? Like, some AAA title I didn't like.
Star Wars
like,
Episode
piss off.
1.
Like, yeah, exactly. Like, no, the worst movies ever are ones that you've never heard of because they're not even good enough to get the so bad it's good status. They just, like, disappear into obscurity for good reason. So it's probably like that with games, too.
Yeah. So I think Ashens actually has a new book of this released as well, like with even more games.
Nice.
Which you've never heard of, yeah. So it's fun. It's worth checking out as well.
The funny thing is, Superman 64 really is a piece of shit, but E.T. is apparently like only really frowned down. Like, it's not a great game, but it's apparently really frowned down upon because like nobody knows how to play it. Like, if you had the instruction manual, you could get through it. It would be. It's not gonna be easy, but you could do it.
they function as games. There's a lot.
That's
of stuff
true
on the
too.
inputs
Yeah,
that
you can play them.
Parody games.
You can't beat. Yeah.
Yeah, you get frustrated, but you can play them.
Yeah, I mean, like, and E.T. also was a similar game to the Raiders of the Lost Ark game for Atari that sold well, and nobody ever complains about that game.
You know, Raiders of the Lost Ark, wasn't that one of the very few Atari games you could straight up beat? Like, usually Atari games just looped or something, but this was like you got to the end, you beat the game. Like, okay,
you could beat E.T. as well. I mean,
okay.
So like both of those games were thematically linked. They're both Spielberg games,
movies,
and they're both programmed by the same guy. But E.T. is a confusing adventure game, but it's supposed to be a deeper experience for the system. It's not a fun one, but it's,
like you go find the candy, you avoid the guy, you collect the pieces. Like for an Atari game, that's a little up there.
It's pretty complicated compared to like shoot the other block or you know what I mean, like
catch the falling obstacles,
something like that.
Like what was that one called where you have to catch all the things falling?
Kaboom.
Yes, Kaboom. I was thinking Bang.
Kaboom's great.
Yeah, Kaboom. Yeah.
I was going to say Beat 'em and Eat 'em.
Which is Kaboom,
there is that. There is that.
But I mean, but yeah, I'm looking really forward to looking through this with you guys and picking out some of those games.
I wonder if we own
Graffiti Man that particularly caught my eye. I was like, what is this?
No, I was just gonna say, I wonder if we own like any of them, like the real
like
shit. Like, I'm curious.
No, these are all
yeah,
these are all terrible specky games.
Oh, okay. So I guess not. The only Spectrum game I own is like the Jetpack on Donkey Kong 64,
and that's a good game,
which is actually really good. Yeah,
that game's a lot of fun. But Ultimate Play the Game games were good.
Right? Yeah, they're the good stuff.
Yeah.
It wasn't programmed in some guy's garage and just learned how to program BASIC.
Was the two brothers
Pickford Brothers?
Yeah, Pickford Brothers.
Yeah. They're pretty good.
Yeah,
Big Block.
that owned Rare before Rare was Rare.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, those games are great.
What about the illegal stuff I got you?
Oh, jeez.
Straight up. The contraband.
I haven't had the chance to taste it yet, but he smuggled in some basically like Irish moonshine.
It's called poachine.
I was waiting for you to say like Kinder eggs, because those are also like not sellable in the United States.
I sent them to you before, didn't I?
Yeah, I love
Yeah, I remember you had brought some over because he showed me the box.
But you keep dissuading me from trying it, even though you brought it for me.
It's disgusting. Like, it's horrible. It's made from potatoes because, of course, it's Irish. Yeah, it's basically just distilled until there's nothing left except the alcohol.
Yeah, I can't wait to like. And there's a whole big bottle of it too, so
you have to get through it.
I can't wait to try it and be afraid.
I wouldn't try it. I'd inflict it on people.
Yeah.
Make sure they don't go blind.
I don't know if you were here for this. I think you were, Lotus, but I tried that. Perry got me
that Chicago
Chinese liquor. No, not the Malort. Malort was bad enough, but the Chinese liquor that him and Zuzu got when they went on their trip to China. It just has like a red star on it, and it just like looks like like the government made it. It's just like victory alcohol, basically, like the kind of stuff that they sold in 1984. The book 1984. It was the worst alcohol I had ever had in my life, and alcohol is an acquired taste. Like, I'll admit that as somebody who likes, drinks and stuff like that. I understand that, like, you don't like all alcohols like immediately. You gather a taste for it, right? And I'm sure you recognize that, even though you don't.
Well, no, drink, I've had things that have an acquired taste. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, it's not like that Chinese alcohol is something that I can never have a taste for, like, ever. And I don't even know what it's called. Like, it's just clear Chinese alcohol that I will never touch ever again. And the Malort I might try just again, because it's like such a unique taste. Yeah. It's just like weird. But I'm kind of thinking that what is it called?
Poachine.
Poachine. Yeah, poachine is gonna be a lot like that.
It tastes like boarding.
It tastes like what my dad uses when he shaves. You know, isopropyl alcohol. So I can't wait.
You know, that actually reminds me. This is a little tangential, but like when I'd gotten to Scotland, like when I graduated from college, like almost a decade ago at this point. But when you say that, it reminds me of like, you know, an industrial, like, you know, not for consumption thing. Like I had brought over some wintergreen like breath savers, and like the people I was staying with, that scent just turned them off so fast. Like wintergreen, like the breath savers they do kind of hit you pretty hard. They're a little strong, but like both of them said like that smells like, you know, like cleaning solution. Like we don't use wintergreen cleaning solution in America. We use like lemon or orange or something. So like
we use it a lot in Europe.
Yeah, apparently like that just threw me off. I'm like, whatever, put it on my mouth, and like how? It's pretty funny.
Yeah, usually that kind of flavoring is either only for like breath mints or or toothpaste. So
yeah, like, you don't just encounter that every day. Yeah, so it is a very specific thing.
But you picked up some good stuff today at Classic Game Junkie.
Yeah, there's probably too much to go through. I just kind of I've stopped going after the Holy Grail type games, so I kind of been neglecting just the common stuff to pick up. Mm-hmm. So I've just been kind of filling out the NES collection. So, God, I can't even remember what I got. I got so much. Gunsmoke, yes.
One of my favorites.
Excuse me, Gun.Smoke.
Yeah. It's,
wouldn't want a copyright infringe, would we?
Yeah. There was a TV show back in the 50s and 60s called Gunsmoke.
Oh,
yeah,
and then
that's why the dot's there
so
to like cheat. Actually, it's exactly like ScrewAttack.com. They made it like ScrewAttack like one word or something instead of two words, so as not to like piss off Nintendo.
Yeah,
even though they use their symbol, like
not that you mention it.
Yeah.
But what else did you get? You got Kirby, right?
Kirby, which is
Kirby's Adventure.
Yeah, it's a kind of. I don't know why I haven't picked it up yet.
Yeah, it's essential for the system.
Yeah, I got a good price as well on Project. Was it Vyse Project Doom? Which I've seen climbing in value at the moment, so I kind of picked it up at a good price there.
You got the Star Tropics schemes?
Oh yeah, I've never played them.
Did they come with the manual?
No, so I don't have the.
Now you'll never find out the secret code.
The world will never know.
Yeah.
What it's up, Guerrilla War.
Oh yeah, Guerrilla War. Yeah, good SNK joint there. You got Commando.
Yes, I got Commando as well.
Yeah.
What else I get? I picked up Pokemon Snap as well because I want to get the 60 hertz version. Yeah.
Interesting.
Good price in that one as well, and I don't like. I think I've got the PAL version, which is 50 hertz, which just ruins the game, especially when it runs at such a crappy frame rate anyway.
No, I've heard that. Like I remember I had seen like a French YouTuber just basically showing us what PAL games were, and he just the video was just maybe like 10 seconds of running around in Sonic the Hedgehog 1 or 2. But it's like at PAL rate, and it just cuts to him like snoring. It was pretty entertaining.
Yeah, the music just sounds totally off. But
yeah,
we didn't know anything back then. It's a big problem with me. I've got like a pretty good PlayStation 1 and N64 collection, but a lot of them are 50 hertz, and it's like and it's. I mean, even when you're just like you're not getting the way they should have been programmed, but also if you're playing like a big RPG, you're adding on about 20, like you're playing for 80 hours and then you're adding another 20% onto that. That's
a good point. Yeah. just straight up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's annoying. It's not too bad on some of the other consoles like the SNES and Mega Drive. You can just if you get the console modded for 60 hertz.
Yeah.
They didn't bother actually speeding the games up. They just released them and made them run. They just ran slower on the. So you just flick a switch and you're playing it perfectly. But
okay. Now I'm assuming the newer consoles that have like HDMI and like PS3 like that's all cleared up now, right?
Yeah. No.
Okay.
No. HD's a standard.
Yeah. Okay. It kind of happened for years, and then Sega started optimizing a few games for the Saturn, and then the Dreamcast had PAL 60 mode. Which there
was Alien Soldier was also optimized.
I think I remember that on the Dreamcast. You could just like set your resolution straight up like on a menu screen or something. I was like, hey.
Yep.
Yeah, so
like games like Bangai-O and stuff were basically the same.
Because people were going bonkers for import Dreamcast so they could play Soul Calibur at 60 hertz.
Yeah.
And then the European version came out and it supported PAL 60. It was like, what's the point? But then Sony brings out the PlayStation 2 and had no functionality for 60 hertz. So we got really bad ports until Devil May Cry came out, and that was so awful that Sony actually, there was such an outcry about that Sony relented and allowed developers to include NTSC mode.
That's insane.
But there's still a lot of games that didn't support it. Like Squaresoft, none of their games supported 60 hertz. And up until even the Wii had a lot of games that didn't.
Yeah.
That ran at 50 hertz. Like Mad World is rubbish on the PAL version of Mad World because it doesn't support 60 hertz.
Yeah, I actually remember because I had I didn't import. Vyse actually had gifted me this, but Project Zero 2, the Wii version.
2,
yeah. I remember it said on the box like this runs in 60 hertz, and I was like, oh, okay.
So a lot of those old games, like they brought them out in the Wii, or the later games, like even on the GameCube, because the GameCube was failing and the Wii was nearly finished. So they brought out Metroid Prime 2 and it only ran in 60 hertz because they couldn't be arsed doing a PAL conversion.
Well, no, I think it was the same with Project Zero. Like this only runs in 60 hertz, and I was like, should I be worried about this? And I forgot which was 50 and which was 60 because I assumed that, it just because I never have to worry about hertz. So I was just like, is 60 the European standard? Oh, warning, it only runs in 60. So I was like getting all nervous over nothing.
Did it work okay? Because there's the PAL 60 mode actually can run in. Oh no, sorry, wait. I think PAL 60 runs 480p or 480i as well, but there's some little bit different.
I actually haven't tried it yet because I was gonna possibly let's play it or whatever. So I haven't tried it yet, but
there might be color differences. Yeah, so you might want to play through a FrameMeister maybe.
That's fine. I can do that anyway. Yeah. But although I will say, like the only PAL game I had to like deal with the hertz issue was I think Michigan Report from Hell, but that game just gives you an option when you turn it on. The funny thing is though, because the option, I mean obviously it was designed for European systems, so this is my problem, not the game's, but like the option of what hertz setting to give is like in 50 hertz, so I can't see the options, so I just have to select an option, and if I can't see anything then I'll reset and select the other option.
It actually wasn't too bad. If you played NTSC stuff on a PAL TV, it would work, but it'd be in black and white for some reason.
Yeah.
Oh, funky.
So, yeah.
What else did you get? You got Klonoa 2, which one of my favorite PS2 games.
I never picked that game up. I don't know why.
It's so good.
Yeah, I love Klonoa 1.
Yeah, Klonoa 2 is even better.
Yeah.
Klonoa 2 is like one of the best games ever
I've
made.
never played Klonoa 2. Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah, looking forward to that. And what was the Master System game I picked?
Choplifter.
Oh, yeah. It was really cheap. I couldn't say no to it.
Yeah, it's probably my favorite version of Choplifter as well. For anybody who doesn't know, Choplifter was made by Broaderbound. It was originally for like Apple IIs and things like that, like 8-bit computers. They made like a series of it was called like the Bungling trilogy. There's Raid on Bungling Bay,
sounds a little
Choplifter, and what was the other one? The other one was there's another big one there that I'm missing. But anyway, Sega got the rights to make an arcade version of Choplifter. It was originally a computer game, and they made an arcade game out of it.
It's an Apple II, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And Sega outdid themselves, and they made an even better version of that for the Sega Master System. It's way better than the Famicom version of Choplifter. The Famicom version of Choplifter is awful. But the Master System version's ace. It's really good. So I was really happy to convince him to buy a copy of that.
Nice.
Can you think of anything else you picked up?
Oh, we definitely didn't scratch the surface.
I'm curious. You might have had these already, but I just like bringing them up because it's such a
Trojan. Yeah.
No, I picked up Trojan.
Yeah. You got to use Trojan.
The thing I was going to bring up, just because it was such a weird decision that I don't know who made the decision. If it was Sony or just Europe's like people who decide what comes in or what, but like. Do you have Xenosaga episodes 1 and 3?
No, we only got Xenosaga episode 2.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like,
the shit one.
Do you have 1 and 3 at this point?
Yes, I got one. I actually I got the first time I visited New York. I actually picked up Xenosaga.
Oh, okay. Because like my favorite part about 2 is its cold opening, because that was disorienting to us. Like all of a sudden you're talking to Doc Tooce, and I'm like, I don't know who Doc
are
Tooce
you?
is. But like, but meanwhile in Europe, like you don't have a fucking clue. Like you don't know who Shion is. It's like that's gonna be the most confusing thing you've ever seen in your life.
I remember just seeing it. And I'm going, why did they bring this out? But they didn't bring out the first one. I saw it in the shop and I was like, what is this doing here? I actually imported number 2. Because I didn't think it was going to come out. Because it was like about a year later as well that it came out.
That's what I did with JoJo All-Star Battle. I was like, this is going to be a copyright clusterfuck. I'm importing it. And then it actually came out in America, and I like could not believe it.
I actually, I know a few people who bought Xenosaga 2 and played it, and they had not got a clue what was going on. They just stopped. And to be honest, I kind of stopped playing as well because it was.
And they introduced all these new characters, but like in response to characters you should know, but you don't know. Like, by the way, Shion had a brother. Also, he has a rival, Margulis, and you're like, what is happening? Like, that's gonna be the most disorienting video game experience ever.
I'd like to finish it because I heard 3 is actually really good. Because
3 is really good, but the ending feels kind of rushed. Because like I heard that they were supposed to make 5 games and they had to cram it down to 3. So like there is an ending. It definitely concludes, but the ending just kind of all of a sudden like, oh, we gotta end the game. Like it just kind of feels like that, where everything happens like really in rapid succession.
Yeah, I remember Xenosaga 1. I enjoyed the story, but the battle system was terrible. And
the battle system's different in all 3 games. It's like a completely different battle system each time. It's weird.
2, I just couldn't finish it. I think I just want to struggle through it so I can get onto 3 and see the good one.
Have fun playing the minigame Hack Ox. You're gonna like break like every controller you have.
Oh, lovely!
It's optional, but if you want to perfect it, like there are some guides. I remember my roommate in college looking up where it's like, oh, for this game, for this round of Hack Ox, you're just gonna want to like tape down the X and the circle button, and then do this and that with the X with the square and triangle button. I'm like, oh my god, like it's just such a nightmare. It's one of those things where you can't even look at the screen. It's just like, just press these buttons in the order I tell you to, and just trust me on this. It's like, oh god, it's like the end of Drakengard 2. Just look at the strategy guide. Just don't even look at the screen. Look at the strategy guide and press the buttons. You're like, okay.
Yeah, that was a bit of an anomaly. I don't know what they were thinking when they brought that out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we both got some really good swag here. I really enjoyed it all. Really excited to check out everything and play everything here.
Yeah, it's actually, I'm having fun as well checking out Vyse's new setup that he was talking about
it's
on the
pretty sweet.
Yeah. It's all the old ones are kind of hooked up to FrameMeister as well, and he has it's just beautiful to see. The only thing that Europe had over America was RGB SCART, and he has them all RGB SCART.
Yeah, we don't have RGB SCART, but we have an adapter that has RGB SCART.
Yeah. So just to let people in on it, what I have hooked up to this setup here, I have a Sega Saturn which has RGB natively, with an optical drive emulator in it.
Yep.
The Rhea. So you could basically play whatever on it.
It's the flash card equivalent of a CD-based system.
Exactly. I have an N64, which I haven't modded at all, but I want to get that HDMI mod. I have a RGB modded Super Graphics Super CD-ROM 2. So that's like the top-notch version of a PC Engine or TurboGrafx. I have a optical drive emulator, Dreamcast, a GameCube that I have component out on. I have a modified Super Nintendo Junior or Super Nintendo 2 that's RGB modded. And I forgot to say that the Dreamcast has a Toro in it for RGB.
Oh yeah, so you can, for RGB, and you can also automatically switch to whichever's better, RGB or VGA if it supports it.
Yeah, but it's all done through SCART too.
Yeah.
It's all done through a SCART cable. I have an AV Famicom, which is like the top loader equivalent of the Japanese Nintendo.
Yeah, and just for the record, AV Famicom means like audio video out as opposed to like the crappy like RF out.
Well, I got it modified to do RGB SCART anyway.
Yeah. So you actually have stereo on that thing, right?
It's like fake stereo. Stereo. Yeah. So, meaning the games were never programmed to output in stereo, so it kind of does a fake job at it.
Yeah, just like, what is it, like double the sound kind of?
Yeah,
like,
basically just doubles it up.
Yeah, because this is back when the AV cable meant like you had red audio and like yellow video, or no, maybe it was white audio and yellow video instead of like red, white, yellow, which we would get later.
Yeah. Then I have a Sega Genesis there, it's a Sega Genesis 1, a high definition graphics one, at that with a
Model 2 CD.
Model 2 CD, the good one, and a 32X, all hooked up.
No Terra Power though.
Yeah. No, I don't have my power base converter in there right now, but I do have one here waiting for it, so I could play Master System games on it as well, and that's natively RGB SCART.
Nice.
And I have my Neo Geo Omega, which is consoleized MVS. Neo Geo MVS, which we were playing the Windjammers off of.
I'm very disappointed that there's no ZX Spectrum here.
All right.
I want to get Vyse to appreciate the nuances of Manic Miner, Jet Set Willy, and he really needs to get off these bullet hell shooters and get into his Euro shooters.
You know what's missing from the controllers that I have? None of them are chiclet keyboards. And you know, everything I have has more than 4 colors. It's awful.
I'll shoot him up need an energy bar.
What does the Spectrum have? Like black, green, purple, and like one more thing maybe?
All made by Poland and all that stuff. I also have all my new systems as well. I have a PS4, PS3, backwards compatible PS3 at that. Wii U, my Switch, my Xbox One, and these are all hooked up to an amplifier and have really nice speakers.
And an original Xbox as well, right?
Actually, I haven't. My original Xbox and my Xbox 360 are not hooked up to my setup.
Okay.
And neither is my Wii, or my PS2 or PS1. I do have all of those, but most of the capabilities of what I have here can do all that. So the Xbox One can play all of a lot of the really good Xbox 360 exclusives now, and it shortly will play all the really good original Xbox games. So I kind of only will have those for like a few curiosities here and there that aren't compatible.
Sure.
I'm gonna keep my 360 probably upstairs on a different television so I could play some of the Japanese exclusive cave shmup games.
Yeah.
Because those haven't been backwards compatible. Haven't been made backwards compatible yet, except for Guwange. Guwange is the only one that has been. So I will keep that around. Also, I need something to watch DVDs upstairs, so that's something I'll have around. But the Wii will only have for curiosities, like the occasional PAL game that I'll want to play, and anything I play on the modded system.
Oh, that's right, because the Wii U can play Wii games.
The Wii U has it's backwards compatible. And the PlayStation 1 and 2, I have a backwards compatible PS3, so I will only break that out when I want to play a PAL. Or
the PS2
Japanese
would be for
game.
foreign games, and the PS1 you have modded to play you also have like the EverDrive equivalent for the PS1.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. So I pretty much have it pretty efficient too, because like I don't have too many systems that can like replace each other. I mean, I guess I do have taking place of a Wii. I have a GameCube and a Wii U, which will pretty much cover everything.
Yeah, exactly. There's very few things that the Wii itself, must do. Like the weird, like you said, like PAL games or something like that. You just can't go to the store and get games for that'll go in the Wii U or something.
Yeah, and the GameCube is also good because it has the Game Boy player on it. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I really do have a lot of options here, and it's all hooked up. All the old stuff is hooked up through the FrameMeister, which is which has been working really well. And there's a 60-inch TV it's all hooked into. So a really great setup. I also have a record player and an 8-track that we've been playing all the vinyl on.
Nice.
Which has been a lot of fun. Yeah, you heard that when you were over here last time.
Yeah, a little bit of the Scott Pilgrim soundtrack and like Gorillaz.
Oh yeah. Had a great time. So, things are really shaping up around here. It's been really good. So, I know you wanted to say a quick word about GDQ.
Yeah, SGDQ. I've mentioned stuff like this before. AGDQ, SGDQ. SGDQ stands for Summer Games Done Quick, and AGDQ is Awesome Games Done Quick, which came around first. But then they decided, hey, doing a marathon of speedrunning for charity sure is fun. Why don't we do it twice? So Awesome Games Done Quick is January-ish, and Summer Games Done Quick is July-ish. And the Summer Games thing just ended, and it's a blast to watch. Even if you're not normally into speedruns, it's really cool to see so many different games being played by so many different players in so many different ways. You know, some runs are 100% completion, some are just get to the end of the game as fast as possible without glitches, some are with glitches where you just break the game and you like beat it in 5 minutes. It's really interesting to see just how these things are done. You know, like the Games Done Quick marathon is kind of what got me into watching speedrunning, because it's almost like how I felt about Let's Plays before I got into them. It's not just about the games getting done quickly, it's about the technique and also even the commentators themselves.
Yeah, the personality of the people playing them.
Or if the person who's... Yeah, or if the person who's playing is like too focused on the game, that's why they have like a backup set of people on the couch to commentate for them. Not only that, but you can get in on the action as well by if you submit donations to the Games Done Quick Marathon, then there's a chance that, you know, if no one's already talking, that a side commentator might just read certain donations out loud. Like, X amount of dollars was donated by this username, and here's the comment that person said, and that can be pretty entertaining.
Yeah, there's a high level of audience participation, which
there's a bunch.
Makes it really cool.
And sometimes it can even get a little interactive. Like, I saw one where some guy was just like, hey, here's, I forgot how much money, but like, here's like, let's say $20. I'll give you 10 more if you tell my like roommate to like grab me a beer. So like the people on the couch were like, go get him a beer, and it was like the most like half-assed like response ever. And then like 15 minutes later, the guy sends in another $10 donation. He's like, hey, he actually did it. Like, it was pretty funny. So there's like stuff like that. That wasn't this summer, but I remember that from a previous event. It was quite entertaining.
What games were your favorite this year?
Well, I've mentioned this. They did not have this one this time, but I've mentioned this before, as I always love watching a 100% run of Mario Sunshine, because the movement in that game is insane. But they almost always have, which they did have this time, a 120-star run in Mario 64, a 100% complete run in Banjo-Kazooie. Again, crazy movement, just techniques. And I also took a little bit of a plunge for a little more of a time sink. It was like 2.5 hours or so, but I watched on any percent just beat it, Kingdom Hearts 2 run. Because whether or not you like Kingdom Hearts 2 or the Kingdom Hearts series, watching that game getting beaten quickly is pretty special. Not only that, but as an additional donation incentive, which was met. That's another thing with the Games Done Quick runs, is that like they'll have donation incentives. Like, if we reach $1,000, then maybe this player will also do this. You know, like, there's sometimes competitive donation incentives where people are bidding against each other, like, who can raise more money to leave those little alien animals behind in Super Metroid when you escape, or open the door and save them. Like, you know, money will go to one or the other, and whoever wins, you get to see the players do that thing, which is pretty fun. But there are donation incentives even to do certain games. Like, somebody speedran Dark Souls because a donation incentive was met. Like, we raised enough money, the guy can do Dark Souls now, like stuff like that. But what was really interesting was that in Kingdom Hearts 2, the HD version on PS4, I think it's a New Game Plus thing, but once you've beaten the game, there's like a room you can go into, which is just like a bonus game mode that gets you swag for a New Game Plus. But it's a hub room where you're surrounded by doors. I think there's 13 doors, because each door leads to one of the Organization 13 members, and you could just fight any or all of them, like one after another, just pick different rooms, and they're crazy hard each. So the donation incentive which was met for this was for the guy, he was allowed to use high level equipment, but he had to beat the Organization 13 members like at level 1, which is like a fool's errand. And he was able to do it only dying once or twice, and he beat all of them in like 25 minutes. It was insane. So it's really interesting to see like just bullshit hard runs completed. Like same goes for Demon Souls and Dark Souls. They'll level up they'll level up multiple times with as many souls as they have, but they will stop to level up like 2 or 3 times in the run, and then just equip a ring that greatly increases their damage when they're at low health.
I've seen Demon Souls 1, and they actually exploit a lot of the rings so they can just deal out ridiculous damage.
Exactly. Yeah, they let
conditions.
They let themselves get to like below a third health, and because they're such low level, you'll probably die in 1 or 2 hits anyway, so it's not that much of a setback. And then they just murder everything with their stupidly high powered attack because their health was really low. They did something similar in Dark Souls where again the guy, I don't even remember if the guy died, but he like quit the game and reloaded it when things didn't go his way a couple times. But I don't even think he died. And he beat Dark Souls 1 by skipping an insane amount of the game. He beat Dark Souls in like 29 minutes. It's like god damn. So I think the only bosses he fought were the ones guarding the bells. So Quelaag in Blighttown and the gargoyles in the area off the undead zone.
The cathedral, wasn't it?
What?
The cathedral?
Yeah, the cathedral, yes. And then, I don't even remember if he fought another boss. I think he just made his way over to, like, the final boss of the game in the kiln to the first flame. It's just like, jeez. Like, so that was really entertaining to... Oh, of course he beat the Asylum Demon, like the first obligatory tutorial boss. Yeah. But, like, that was...
Glitch's way there, because I think you need to defeat 4 bosses or something before you...
Yeah, you're supposed to. He used some sort of exploit, which I forgot what it was. Like, he did some stuff where... It was something where he would leave... Oh, and he also beat Ornstein Smog. He would do a thing where he would, like, teleport somewhere or, like, enter, like, a loading zone or something, and just before the game faded back in to load, he would force quit the game on PC version and reload it, and he would, like, be beamed somewhere else. So if he were to die, he would respawn at the appropriate fire, which he did not want to do, but... Until that time, he's where he needs to be, so he only fought, like, maybe, like, 5 bosses in the game, and, like, I don't think any of them were, like, the ones you need to canonically open the door to the final boss. It was pretty amusing. Right. Except, like, Ornstein Smog gets him the teleport fire ability, but other than that, in Ornstein Smog, he freaking wrecked, which is amazing, because, like, I know there's harder bosses out there, but when Ornstein and Smog, like, when people first discovered them in Dark Souls 1, everybody was like, hardest boss in any video game ever. Like, because Demon Souls was always about fighting, like, a super hard boss. And Ornstein and Smog are, like, 2 super hard bosses at the same time. You're like, ah! Like, it was one of, like, the, I think you had mentioned, like the brick wall boss in Etrian Odyssey, like Ornstein and Smog were a lot of people's brick wall for quite some time.
I had an awful lot of trouble, and it's also not just 2 bosses at the same time. You also have to fight another super boss afterwards.
Yeah, and
what's up version.
And what's a really dick move, by the way, is you're like, I'm smart. I'll deal similar damage to both of them, so like when I kill one, the other will be at a sliver. But no, like the other, whoever lives fully restores their health. It's like, god damn it. So you're better off just like concentrating on one. The funny thing is with Ornstein and Smog, I definitely died a few times, but I didn't have that much trouble when I fought like Super Smog. But when I did a New Game Plus and fought Super Ornstein, that was a nightmare. Like, he was the worst.
Super Ornstein's an awful lot harder than
he
Super
was
Smog.
Horrible, because like he dashes and he has a long lance. Picture him when he's big. Like, he's like a stupidly big long lance. Like, I can't deal with this guy. And he has Smog's butt stomp, which you don't expect him to ever use because it's just not him. So suddenly he'll do a pretty fast butt stomp with an electrical radius, and you're just like, what do I do? Like, it was awful. Yeah.
I think another one is like some of the runs I really enjoy are the races.
Those are pretty entertaining.
Yeah, you'd have the speedrunners competing against each other, and a lot of them would be really close. And I didn't get to the end of it because it wasn't over till 5 o'clock in the morning in Ireland, so I fell asleep during it. But they had a relay race
with the Mario games.
Yes, the Mario games. It was great. I fell asleep during Super Mario Brothers 3, unfortunately.
That's a good one to watch too. I remember one of the first.
Really enjoyed it.
I remember one of the first relay races I ever saw. It might have even been the first one they did. Was because they've done races before, but I mean like relay races, was the Ninja Gaiden trilogy on NES. And that commentary was so on point because they had two commentators that would like pass it off to each other like in actual like in a baseball game or something, where like one person would be like, oh, he's gonna want the fire wheel, but he's got to conserve it because it only has so many uses and it's really useful for this boss. Like, that's right. Like, and not only that, like they had really good dynamics going on between the commentators on that one. And it's also really fun to see just whatever shenanigans the relayers do in games with more randomness. Like, I remember, it wasn't this year, but I remember I think maybe AGDQ 2017, they had like a Mario Maker.
That was brilliant.
Where none of the players knew what any of the levels were. Like, the levels were custom designed for them, but none of the players knew what to expect, and that was crazy.
They got Panja, who was kind of this guy that makes like the hardest levels in Super Mario Maker to make levels especially for them for the run.
Yeah, and they weren't like they weren't like bullshit. You need to practice for months to get it right hard, but they were damn hard, and these people were. Like, they were dying a bunch, but they were doing better than any of us would do on our first tries. Like, it was really impressive to watch. Yeah.
There's another good one I saw was a Blaster Master one, which was a few years ago.
That was great.
And, they talked about this new glitch they found.
Yeah, frame perfect.
Yeah, it was frame perfect, and they said it was only a tool-assisted person could do it, and if you miss it, you crash the game. And one of the runners was miles behind the other guys, but he went for the glitch at the end, and he actually got it and ended up like competing with the other runners that were way ahead.
Still lost, but he like lost. Yeah, he still lost, but he, awesome he covered all the time that he had lost before. Like, he was on par with everybody. The funny thing is, I remember the description of that glitch. I remember one of the commentators said, "Oh, it's been upgraded from like tool-assisted speedrun, like TAS." They said it has been upgraded from TAS only to extremely hard, and the guy still nailed it because at that point he had nothing to lose. If you were in first place, you would not try that glitch because, like you said, you could crash the game. You would not try that glitch in a marathon setting. Maybe if you're going for world record at home or something. But this guy had nothing to lose, and he actually got it, and everyone was like, "What?" Like, I remember the commentator even stopped commentating. He was like, wait, I want to see this, and that doesn't happen in HEDQ. Like, no, the commentators never stop and go, "Oh, hold on." Like, it was that important, and it paid off. It was great. It was so gratifying to watch.
Have you ever seen the ones where the actual developer is sitting with the runner?
Once or twice. Usually, I think you like hear them call in. I remember like a developer from like Rare called in and was just chatting it up with Blast Core for the N64. And I remember Grant Kirkhope had called in, I think, like twice for like a Banjo-Kazooie run. And he's just like talking about like, oh yeah, making the music for this game was interesting because this, that, and the other thing. Like, I remember he actually gave the speedrunners information they didn't know. And remember, speedrunners play these games for hundreds of hours because they're speedrunners. Like, they have to get good. And Grant Kirkhope had told them in Banjo-Kazooie, there's one area where you have to mimic what a hand is doing and play the organ. And Grant Kirkhope said that he programmed the organ in such a way, which was a nightmare to do, that the note you play on the organ, it doesn't correspond to the actual key on the organ, but the note that you play like has a chord relationship with whatever's playing in the background music at the time, so you get like a concordant sound, which is really clever, and like not everyone would notice that, and even these people didn't, and they like play it for their life, which was super cool. Actually, this isn't sorry, what were you saying? You were gonna say something?
I was just about to say, but I saw one with Shovel Knight, and the developer was actually sitting with them.
Yeah, that's super cool.
And he was just looking at them doing stuff, and he was going, "Oh, we didn't realize they could do that."
Yeah.
And there's other areas where it's like, we knew someone would get up there, but we didn't think people would be clever enough to figure it out. And the runner was kind of like riffing on him, talking about how bad their programming was.
Oh, that's funny.
He was playing the game.
I remember the Tales of Games guy sat in on a speedrun of Shut Up and Jam Gaiden, which was pretty entertaining. The only time I remember like surprising the developer with like, "Bet you didn't know we could break your game this way," was the Blast Core run. But there was also, I remember a time someone was playing Double Dragon Neon, where he said something like, "And now we back up slightly to despawn this knife that would come at you," and the developer over the phone was just like, "What?" It was just really like it was just really entertaining to just hear that. I think I lost my train of thought on the other thing I was going to say, but that's fine. Like, it's still super entertaining to watch, and I always just love seeing just the shenanigans that can be pulled in games like these. Like, you had mentioned the dev sitting in with Blast Core and Banjo-Kazooie. I was going to mention, this wasn't a dev thing, but one more really subtle thing that I'd never even noticed. and like a lot of other speedrunners hadn't noticed, was this SGDQ. Someone was playing Mega Man X, the first one, and it was a really subtle thing in the Sigma stages where you have to refight the bosses. I think you go from Chill Penguin to Storm Eagle. Like, Chill Penguin isn't the first guy you fight, but I think you go from Chill Penguin to Storm Eagle in the Sigma stage. And what was really clever was that when you fight Chill Penguin, you're in front of a big window and you can see the outside. And there's not really much to see. It's just like purple sky because like it's like dusk, I guess. Or no, it was just before dawn. But when you beat Chill Penguin and you like walk to the right, you get like your standard gray background hallway, and then the next time you encounter a window, it's like blue sky, and you fight Storm Eagle in blue sky, like implying that you fought like through the night, which is like a really subtle little thing that like nobody notices, but that's super cool.
Yeah, I actually remember that. That was pointed out, and I think Mega Man X is full of those little touches, and none of the other games really kind of emulated that either.
Yeah, I mean, they had nods to like you affected something in another level, but like that's really subtle.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's just super cool to see stuff like that go down. So like the games can even the runs can even be educational about games that you thought you knew. Not to mention they can introduce you to a whole ton of games you never even heard of, because like they're really good at that. Like, you know, I've seen super speed runs of like Swamp Thing on NES. It's like, so that's what this game looks like when you get past level 1. You know, like stuff like that is just kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing you're gonna miss is that people skip cutscenes because it's a speed run, unless like they specifically go out of their way not to. Like, I remember there was a Jack and Daxter run where they're like, we want to hear the dubbing in Japanese because it sounds goofy, so they just let cutscenes play. But like normally you just don't, like, if you're looking for the game for story, look somewhere else. But otherwise for the gameplay, it's really fun to watch.
Yeah. Also, the main thing to take away as well is that it's for a really good cause as well.
Oh, yeah, they raised like 2 or 3 million this summer alone.
1.7.
Oh, it got that high. I didn't see the end of the run. That's insane.
They smashed the record from AGDQ.
Yeah, because
this year's AGDQ.
Yeah, like I remember I was there when they said, "Oh, we beat." I think it was like last year's SGDQ or something. Like we beat it, and they were like at 1.2 or something. So like it's really cool that they went way higher. Apparently, that's super awesome. Like, they're making more each year. Like I remember one year they were like super hyped about 500K, and now they're like, let's see if we can get to 900K like before Friday's over. It's like, god damn, like that's super impressive.
Yeah, when I started watching, like it was the first year they actually topped 1 million.
Yeah,
it was a big deal,
that's outrageous. Yeah, and like they do this whenever they announce really big donations. Like someone donated $500, and then there's this long pause because they expect people to clap. But when you announce a goal like that, like the room flips out. Like it's so great to watch.
It's amazing that like the media doesn't cover this. It's always bad stories about.
Oh yeah, because video games are bad and turns you into serial killers.
And then you have this all these gamers getting together and raising money for like cancer research and
Doctors Without Borders,
and all, and doing good, and that never just.
Yeah, well that doesn't count, I guess, even though hundreds of thousands of people donate.
Yeah. I used to give it to Eurogamer as well because they just take a load of their videos and put it up after the event was over. And this year, thankfully, I don't know if they listened to me or other people, but they actually announced on their site when it actually began.
Yeah, not to mention they should do that anyway, because the first thing you'll see, I mean, you probably go to a different site, but I go to like Games Done Quick, like .twitch.tv, like the regular, like the US based site. But like when you go there, they give you links for like the French stream, the German stream, like other countries can watch this in their appropriate languages, like at the time. Like get on that if you can. It's really great. So yeah, SGDQ was super hype. And by the way, if you missed it on Twitch, you will miss something on Twitch. It's a 24-hour stream. Well, it's 24 hours a day for like a week. But
nobody's that hardcore.
But what was it?
Nobody's that hardcore.
Nobody. But like, however, they do put their videos up on their YouTube channel. So like, you could see all 100. I don't even know, 140, 150, 160 like games played. Like it's great. When they first upload their stuff, when they just spit it out, like here's the video you missed, there's usually gonna be audio issues with them because they're just like, fuck it, here's the game, and you can hear the commentary. But like they usually do a million re-uploads after they've taken time to carefully edit and like balance the sound and stuff like that. So you can watch the videos right now, or you can wait like, I don't know, like a week or two or something and catch like proper audio if you want to hear the game audio a little better as well. So definitely get on that if you're even slightly interested. So yeah, SGDQ hype. I can't wait for the next I can't wait for AGDQ 2018.
Yep, just January, right after Christmas.
Yep, it's a good thing. It's good timing too. Love it. I'm actually off. Like I'm not teaching. Like I can actually actually veg out because like right now I have like a tutoring schedule at 9 in the morning to mid afternoon. But like winter break, I'm not doing anything. Like give me that AGDQ hype.
The whole week was just me staying up late and going
exactly. And by the way, one thing I forgot to mention, I mentioned the particular runs I really enjoyed this SGDQ, but one of my favorite runs I've ever seen was Tones Balones' speed run of any percent Splatoon. That movement was freaking crazy.
Oh yeah, that was
like 2015, I want to say. That was ridiculous. Like that was so fun to watch. He skipped like a world, like World 5 or something, but like but with the levels he did, he still had to beat like legitimately, maybe with like weird jumps, but he didn't do any straight glitches from what I can remember, and the bosses he did just really, really fast, and it was super cool to watch. And he was a great commentator too. He was one of the people who can like commentate on his own game while he's playing without relying on the couch, and he had a really charming personality to boot. So I recommend looking up Splatoon. I want to say Awesome Games Done Quick 2015, but I think it's the only Splatoon run on the Games Done Quick site at all at this point, so it should be easy to find. Super, super fun to watch. Mm-hmm. I actually showed it to Vyse like when I was over at his place once. I was like, let's watch this entire run. It was like 50 minutes. It was great.
Yeah, I mean, I usually enjoy this kind of stuff, but I like it filtered through you guys. You guys have a lot more patience for hunting around the various things that are exciting.
Oh, yeah.
We just like to catch it live, just in case we can't miss anything.
Yeah, and just because you guys mentioned it earlier, I do recommend showing Vyse the Ninja Gaiden Master System run. It was like 20 minutes, and that commentator was hilarious.
Okay, he mightn't like to hear what he has to say about the game though.
He doesn't shit on the game, but like he does poke fun at it, and he's aware that like people don't like you if you like the game and stuff like that. But he's super dry and he's really funny.
I just don't get it. I don't know why people rag on it.
Because it's European.
Yeah, I guess. It's such a good game. But did you guys have any last moment asides there?
For me, that was probably it. Like, I think I'm all SGDQ'd out.
Yeah, it was pretty much my week, other than coming over to America.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
right?
Yeah. Well, that's the show for this week. Please remember to subscribe to Corrective Consciousness YouTube and Soundcloud pages. While there, please give us thumbs up, likes, and 5-star ratings on iTunes. It helps us keep promote the show and keep and spread awareness. And any bit of encouragement helps us keep the show going. You can also catch us on Tuesday for our sister podcast, Reactive Consciousness, the podcast about our lives and love of pop culture. Finally, you can friend me as VyseTheBold, VyseTheBold, on Steam, PSN, Xbox Live, and Twitter.
And you could follow me on my YouTube channel, Lotus Prince. Hit me up on Twitter at Lotus Prince, all one word. And if you are interested in seeing my videos early, getting in on exclusive streams, or even selecting upcoming games for me to play, then consider checking out my Patreon at patreon.com/LotusPrince. Once again, all one word.
And I've got nothing. I'm not even on Twitter. But if you want to catch me on Steam, I think it's either Retro Gamer
Battlegrounds.
Retro Gamer 1337. Yeah, I play a bit of Battlegrounds, but I'm terrible. It's Retro Gamer with a 0 instead of an O because I'm elite.
Extreme. X-Dream.
You've been elite for a very long time, as long as I've known you too.
Either that or Retro Gamer is already.
Yeah. Well, I think that does that for this week. Have a great week, everybody, and we'll catch you on Tuesday.
Until next time, everyone.
See ya.
Bye-bye.